Hello, colleagues and instructors. Welcome to this presentation. Today we're going to be focusing on database usage. Now, I have two different databases that we can utilize or give focus on as a means of exemplifying exactly how one would approach this for a new timer and also how to be able to navigate them very sufficiently. Now, there are many examples to choose from. Now, the two that I've chosen is Encyclopedia Britannica and World Book Online. Both of these sources are very good in giving adaptable information across the entire gamut of library research. And today I'm going to show you how to be able to engage with them as a first-time user. With me having gone through the process of working through said databases, I'm going to show all of you exactly how to be able to navigate them in a very appropriate manner and make sure you know about the right direction to go in when you need to find research for a lesson plan, or if you're going to need to use them for a future topic to use within a class of said lesson plan. My name is Jeff. I will be your data usage instructor for today, and I hope you enjoy this presentation. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to take a look at Encyclopedia Britannica. Basically, this is a company that's known for what is supposed to be the world's oldest known continuously published encyclopedia. It's also the owner, fun fact, of the American Dictionary, Merriam-Webster. I'm sure you could already tell based on the way on how I'm reading the descriptions of it. But basically, when you navigate for the first time, you want to type in Encyclopedia Britannica, and then right here we have, it's the first link you want to click on. So let's click on it. Now this is what the interface looks like. Now you have your search bar up here, you have Explore, which already has a whole slew of information and topics that we could take a look at. History and society, science and tech, biographies. One of my favorites, animal and nature, geography and travel. My other favorite, arts and culture, and money. But this also features games and quizzes, videos, on this day, one good fact, dictionary, and new articles. This is one of the most helpful websites anyone could come across, and it's widely accepted, and a lot of the information has a lot of credible backing for scholars and most people who are looking for materials for their work. But basically what you're going to get is you're going to get a lot of these features up here, which are sort of like basic quick links. These are more or less what you have up here with what you have on the side. What's a slightly new feature, it's not exactly like brand new, but a new feature is what you have on here called Ask the Chatbot. Please excuse me. Basically, with Ask the Chatbot is sort of like if you're going to ask Siri, Gemini, or even at a certain Amazon product, which I happen to have right next to me, so I don't want to say its name. And all you want to do is basically you want to go into the chatbot and you're going to ask it a simple question on many different things that would be beneficially helpful for you within a given scenario, or if you're just generally curious. Like, let's say, for example, let's type in the question, how deep is Lake Michigan? So you type in a question like that, and it's going to utilize AI software to give a good explanation. And by good, I mean it actually does have a lot of exemplatory features on here. So it answers on this. Lake Michigan, one of the 5 Great Lakes of North America, has a maximum depth of 923 feet, or 281 meters. This makes it a significant body of water in terms of both size and depth, and lying entirely within the United States and bordered by Michigan, Wisconsin, Illinois, and Indiana. There's also sources and related questions that are in connection with said question given an answer within the chatbot search bar. But anyway, this is one of the features of what we have in the chatbot. So we're going to go back, and now I'm going to show you about how this can be utilized for a subscription service. Now, whatever educational institution is utilizing this would have to go off of their own useful plan so students and faculty would be able to have access for it without necessarily having to pay off their own accord. That being said, though, there are some different plans available, but for the sake of just the introduction for this, I am going to approach this as a first-time user and just utilize the free trial, just so you could see what features that it has to offer. So we're first going to go to subscribe now, and this is what the page is going to look like. Now there's the Britannica Premium Subscriber Benefits. We're not necessarily going to be utilizing this, but it does have a good description as to what to expect if you get Premium. Now here's what you have. We have the Britannica Premium, as I mentioned, annual. Now this is for those who use Encyclopedia Britannica vigorously, and I mean like almost every day or every other day. Britannica Premium Monthly is when you want to pop in every now and then because you find it resourceful. And then we also have the Britannica Family Bundle. This is where, as considered by the best value, $99 annually, where if you have a household that uses Encyclopedia Britannica, you want to utilize this. But within the case of what would be extended to offer for students, or what they could afford within their own class, is the Britannica Premium Monthly, not the annual. So, and there's also a feature down here where if you are a student, there is actually a discounted academic rate for Britannica Premium. This is very common amongst a lot of other websites out there that offer special discounts for those who utilize their software for educational purposes, aka if you're a student and the software or the application is part of the class curriculum. Here you're going to get, once you get Premium, there's no ads, Britannica money, full access on the iOS app, and full content access. There's a lot of trusted content. You get some digitized versions of physical prints, and there's a lot of well-known contributors who have given a lot of sponsorship to this website. This includes Nobel Prize winners, heads of states and world activists, U.S. presidents, and journalists, sports figures, scholars, artists, and business leaders. So, approaching this, let's just go with the Britannica Premium Monthly. So here, there is the membership offer. There's the Online Premium and the Britannica Family Bundle. So we're just going to go with annual. And there's a 7-day free trial. So by utilizing this, I am going to be entering all my credentials. If you just give me just a quick moment, I am going to be right back to speaking with you as soon as I fill this out. So just please hang tight. All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for just that one moment of pause while we take a look at this. So once you fill out all your information on there, it's going to have you finish up on the congratulations page, and it's going to have you direct back onto this onto the main page, where you're going to find basically the general headline of what today is within given news stories. This one is obviously focusing on the islands of Hawaii. There's talking about the use of the Golden Age, Hawaii volcanoes, and obviously any other stories that are related towards the concept of the main article. Now down here, you're going to get some information regarding what's popular in Britannica. There's articles, features, and lists, and they could range from anything of a lot of relevancy within our given news stories, modern news stories, you could say, such as articles regarding Jesse Jackson, Kamala Harris, Bill Donahue. There's features which are very widely discussed questions, which is how many oceans are there, which for the record, everyone should pretty much know what that, know how many the oceans there are. How many U.S. presidents decided not to run for a second term. And as for lists, there is the 10 greatest basketball players of all time, Secret Service codenames of 11 U.S. presidents. There's a whole slew of topics along here. So, and they refresh these lists every single day, so you're not going to run out of interesting reads. Now we have Britannica money. Now this is regarding how you would want to be able to handle one's own money, or the current state of world economics. This would be beneficial for students within a financial literacy course. Namely because that they're being taught how to use money, how to use it wisely, and the right way to work out investments, write out a paycheck, and being able to just handle with personal management within one's own lifestyle. So information regarding on here with the articles on here as being investing, retirement, household finance, and companies is incredibly useful. Regarding what you have down here is we have trending quizzes based on popular topics and things that are new on Britannica, which is Project 2025, the reuse of autotune, the Midday Music Diet, History of Mugshot, and so on. There's also popular featured videos on here. There's more grounded topics based on what we saw within the side menu, which is History and Society, Science and Tech, Biographies, Animal Nature, Geography, and Travel, Arts and Culture. You obviously have calculators on here, which is a very helpful tool because a single calculator may not necessarily reflect the kind of calculations that one may need with other sources, because not all of them can necessarily take a TI-84. Most can, but there's always going to be calculators that specialize in very specific aspects of utilizing money. And then obviously on here we've got more from Britannica, which is more site or resource extensions from what Britannica has to initially offer. So let's just do a example search. Let's think about a good topic that's going on within the world, and we can utilize it within the search bar of the site. I would say that what we could work on would be, I know, how about, I've been into reading, so let's just type in popular books. And the articles that come up are essentially things that kind of range within sort of like textbook results, sort of like what you would get on Wikipedia, which Encyclopedia Britannica shares a lot of significant aesthetics with. So, like for example, in the first one, we've got textbook definitions regarding what would be concerning popular literature, and it results with any written work that is read or is intended to be read by a mass audience. So things that have been popular or have been heavily discussed within the world would always find would always have this sort of terminology attributed to them. A lot of this would be helpful for students that are looking for a new form of defining words. Like if students who are English majors, they could see a lot of benefit of utilizing Encyclopedia Britannica, because there is a lot of backwoods information that they may not get the same kind of results with other resources. And there is nothing wrong by itself with like Wikipedia, but because it's constantly being edited and adjusted, it's not a steadfast or standalone way of finding information. It's just there for convenience. Britannica has a little bit more class, you could say. And not only will you get a definition, but you got some facts on characteristics, history, and even things related towards the concept of popular literature that you would find on the side. For example, is human space colonization only science fiction? Where was science fiction invented? And where does science fiction get its name? Although the second one, if I had to answer, I guess the best answer to that, at least what's widely accepted, is with Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Considering that even though it's nowadays associated with horror, it's technically a science fiction publication, and obviously the first of its kind, the forerunner for any future publications yet to come. Like I've recently started reading Dune by Frank Herbert. Amazing read. But anyway, regarding everything they have on here, that's about all there is with it with Britannica. It's all just a matter of searching and going through a lot of these different hubs. It's very easy to use. The interface is very simplistic. There's a whole slew of information, but not to the point where it's going to overwhelm you. And it's what you get from here is when you sign up is it's ad-free. There's no bugs, and there's a lot of different intricacies that you could use through this whole educational apparatus. It's just brilliant. But there is a whole lot to show on here, but I do need to get onto the other topics, because this is also a case for not just like history students or English students as targets, or even with the money, financial literacy students, but just generally anyone that wants to keep their knowledge open and fresh and learn a little bit new every day. Because if we truly stop learning, then we might as well be omniscient, but that's not the way how human nature works. We're all in the case of just learning some new things every day, including the things that we may not have been able to taught in schools, whether time-wise or we just didn't fit in curriculum. this is all an excellent source for generally not just students, but anyone who wants to approach expanding their knowledge. So teachers, I would recommend that you definitely take this a good look. I wouldn't necessarily recommend it you use it all the time for your lessons, but it is an incredibly helpful tool and has a little bit more of a pleasing front than what Wikipedia has to offer. But again, just take it with how it's accepted within your lesson plans. I will lean it towards the ideas of English and history students, but once again, everyone could generally use it. Okay, so that is it with Encyclopedia Britannica. Now let's go on to the other source that I want to talk about, World Book Online. Now, World Book Encyclopedia is an American online encyclopedia, and it was first published in 1917. Since 1925, a new edition of the encyclopedia has been published annually. I know it's a little bit ironic because I discredited Wikipedia, but the definition is right here. It's still helpful, but I would recommend for other sources instead of having to fall back on towards what is very common in the popular conscious. So when you type in the World Book Encyclopedia, you want to go to the first one right here, which is worldbookonline.com. Now, once again, you can't necessarily utilize its full features unless you sign up with it. So, and just a fun fact with what you have on here is it's heavily compatible with Google Suite. This includes Google Classroom. And Google Classroom should need no introduction. It's widely used by a lot of educational institutions because it's so simple to use. But give me a chance to just get a chance to sign in, and I will be back with you in just a moment. Alright, so when you go into World Book Encyclopedia, this is essentially what the interface is going to look like. It's a very simplistic, straightforward look, and as you can see, it's notably very child-friendly. So if right off the bat, if I had to say what this would be more suited to, this would be in the case of elementary school students or middle school students. There is some features of what you get down here, including some basic information. You could sign up for World Book, and then the World Book difference, where it gives a good description on what to expect if you utilize the World Book interface. Now, there's different world books on here based on the different formats of what you're looking for. There's digital book sets, single books, encyclopedias for teachers, resources, global partnerships, global partners, and the 2024 catalog. So, for example, under book sets, we have early learning, selected reader, among other things. We have STEM learning, narrative-driven, and social studies. Single books, this would be in the case of anything geared towards the fiction and non-fiction books that students could utilize within their research. So for example, let's take a look at single books, and let's find one that's on mythology, legends, and folklore. So these are the utilized books that can be purchased for the use of students within the class. Now, let me just make sure I don't have to rephrase. I'm not necessarily saying the students would have to purchase this. I'm saying this in the case where, within the right matter of funding, that this would be useful for media specialists within the right funding to purchase these books for the use of elementary and middle school students. There is a lot of good features on here, and they're usually restocked, but they don't have like a full-fledged library resource of information. So, for example, with the mythology, legends, and folklore, very interesting books, but only 2 pages of available content. So with that being said, this is only under a single books page of by grade and by subject and under a single category. So by 1, 2, 3, 2 subcategories under a main category is what you're going to get. So there really is a lot more books than what's offered on here. And if we were to take a look at the World Book Encyclopedia, you're going to get an entire full set which spells out World Book. Now this is where if you want to update it periodically within a given media center, this would be helpful for media specialists and instructors who want to keep physical print media on hand in case any computers are taken up, there's no digital Wi-Fi available, or if they just want to allow students to essentially look through a more traditional way of general research. Now, obviously, this is kind of outside the boundaries of what would be accepted within within the school funding of a media center, but sometimes some schools would be able to have the aptitude and funds to be able to purchase it. But this would be a useful site to utilize if you want to essentially like buy and hang on to a good number of books, because within the process of constant library weeding, there's always the chance that old books are going to be outdated soon enough. So you always want to make sure that you always restock it with books that have the most relevant of information that you could hold onto and has a lot of a timeless value to it. And especially if students seem to be very fond of interacting with said work more often than they normally would. But in the case of what you want to get on here is, as I showed you earlier, there is a login screen which will give you access to purchase said books. Now with this would be not just necessarily in the case of books being purchased for elementary and middle school students, but this would obviously be within the ballpark of students within literature and English, because a lot of these books of what we have are very good for just a state of mind for those within reading. But there also are books that are most helpful within the basis, not just within literature alone. For example, there are math books on here within a very fun niche approach on here, and it's kind of funny looking at this within this web page. Is it's all conjoined within a single books category, but because it's not really stretched thin within their subcategories, they're intermixed in with history among 11 pages, sciences and animals, and biological diversity. So it's pretty interesting how they intermix a lot of it. All right, so in the case of for teachers, these are the books that would sort of like be in the case of teachers who want to utilize lesson plans and want to utilize these books for mapping out their lesson plans, or for making sure that students are comprehending what's to be expected of them within assignments and given classwork or even homework. There isn't that much to say. It doesn't have as many features and resourcefulness as what would get within Encyclopedia Britannica, but as it is a very great, helpful site for those who want to be able to purchase said books within a more direct fashion. And with all due respect, within a lot of the online book marketplaces, like in the case of Amazon bookshops, and even Barnes & Noble, their books are excellent and available, but they may not necessarily cater towards the likeness of direct education, which is why on here is where, if you want to be able to work as a scholar or an educator at any given educational institution, you want to be able to utilize this website for finding books that would help out with your lesson plans, and just generally making sure that it fits within the formats of the AASL standards. Specifically in this case, is you want to see these sites as though it's part of the IVB1, which is seeking a variety of sources. All right. I don't believe that there is that much to cover on here. Regarding the what's left is that if you want to sign up for them, make sure that you're only getting out as much as what you can generally get within lesson plans. You don't necessarily want to treat it as though it's a one and done deal, because this is like one of the follies of what happens when you purchase textbooks. And I should know, as a recent graduate, that someone who purchases out a textbook for a given physical textbook within a given class, utilizing it for only a single lesson can be like an overwhelming and daunting concept. But here, I really do believe that you are getting your money and time's worth with the sources and cataloging that World Book and even Encyclopedia Britannica has to offer. Although this is more so in the case of World Book. You don't necessarily have to pay for anything on Britannica unless you absolutely want to. As far as everything goes, yeah, this is a pretty simplistic way of going about World Book. We'll just do one other feature. We are going to do just a quick test search on World Book. So let's say if we want to try to find, let's do history. Let's say if we want to do something on the, let's see, how about the Mongol Empire? Oh, sorry about that. All right, I guess they don't necessarily have the resources for the Mongol Empire. Let's try addition. So in the case of addition for math, yeah, see, here we have a whole bunch of different sources of information for World Book. In this case, there's, it looks like that they seem to range from anything in terms of like political history and things within the lines of basic mathematics. So if you want to be able to utilize this for effective purchasing and there's good physical space for said purchase, then yeah, I would definitely go forward with this. Otherwise, you should be able to have an ebook option available for it. You could also take a look at key highlights under a given single book, educator tools on what it would work for, and just the general reviews. These come from school library journals, American Reference Books annuals, Library of Media Connection, Editor's Choice, and so on. I believe that's all I have to cover on here. And I believe that's it. All right, so thank you so much for turning into this to this presentation. I hope you were able to get a lot out of this budding source of information from both Encyclopedia Britannica and World Book. These are very helpful sites. You want to make sure that you want to make your purchases carefully, and you want to orient these pages that could work well for students if they're going to be utilizing said sources more than once within a given class period or within the whole matter of a marking period or semester. So I hope you really enjoyed this, and thank you so much for checking in for this presentation, and good luck with your lesson plans. Thank you, everyone.